The night I understood what real fear felt like, I was 14 years old, alone in a house that suddenly felt very small. And a man on the other side of a locked door wasn't saying anything at all. My name is Daniel. I grew up in Millhaven, Vermont, the kind of town that appears on postcards and makes people who've never lived there say things like, must be so peaceful. Wide elm-lined streets. A general store that sold maple syrup and hand-carved birdhouses. Neighbors who still waved from their driveways. The kind of place where parents let their kids walk to school alone at age 8 and thought nothing of it. My parents had started leaving me home alone on weekends that year. My older brother was away at his first year of college, and my parents, both young, both restless on Saturday nights, had a standing dinner reservation at an Italian place 40 minutes away. They'd be back by 11, 12 at the latest. They left me $25, the television remote, and a handwritten list of local numbers on the fridge that I had never once needed to use. That Saturday in October, I ordered a large pepperoni from a place called Rosario's, 3 blocks away. Cash only, best pizza in town according to my father, who had very strong opinions about pizza. The delivery was supposed to take 30 minutes. I was in the middle of a video game when the doorbell rang at the 45-minute mark. The man at the door was somewhere in his mid-30s, heavyset. He wore a dark green jacket and a baseball cap pulled low. He had the kind of beard that looked less like a style choice and more like something that had simply accumulated. He held out the box and I held out the money. While he counted change, he looked up, not at me, past me. His eyes moved slowly through the open doorway, scanning the hallway, the bottom of the stairs, the empty coat rack where my parents' jackets usually hung. Your folks home? He asked, casual, like it was small talk. Something cold moved through my chest. They're upstairs, I said. My dad's just getting his wallet. He looked at me for exactly 1 second too long. Then he smiled, flat, practiced, handed me the change, and walked back to his car. I closed the door and stood in the hallway holding the pizza box for almost a full minute before I moved. He knows, something in the back of my brain said. He saw the empty coat rack. He saw no cars in the driveway. I ate 3 slices at the kitchen counter without sitting down. Then I wrapped the rest, put them in the fridge, and went back upstairs. I told myself I was being paranoid. I played my game for 2 more hours and mostly believed it. The doorbell rang at 11:18 p.m. I was halfway down the stairs before I stopped. My parents always knocked. 3 fast raps, a habit from years of carrying groceries. They never rang the bell when they came home late, because they thought it might startle me. I froze on the 4th step. Mom, Dad? I called toward the door. Silence then. Hey, I need to use a phone. Male voice. Not a voice I recognized. Who is it? I said. Just need to make a call. Quick, please. I did not move toward the door. I turned and started back up the stairs, and that's when the banging started. 3 hard strikes against the wood. Wait, don't go, please. I need help. He saw me on the stairs. Our front door had a narrow rectangular window at the top. Decorative, frosted, but lit from the hallway behind me. My silhouette would have been perfectly visible from outside. Moving up the stairs, stopping, turning back. He had been watching through it. I ran, not screaming. I didn't have the air for it. I ran to my parents' bedroom at the end of the hall, closed the door, turned the thumb lock, and pressed my back against it. The only upstairs phone was on my mother's nightstand. I grabbed it and called her cell with shaking hands. She answered on the 2nd ring. Mom. My voice came out very quiet. There's a man at the door. 3 seconds of silence. When she spoke again, her voice had changed completely. Did you let him in? No. Does he know you're alone? I thought about the delivery driver. The way his eyes had moved through the doorway. The empty coat rack. Mom, the pizza guy asked if anyone was home. She said something away from the phone, sharp, urgent, to my father. Then back to me. Stay in our room. Lock the door. Don't make any sound. We're calling the police right now. She kept me on the line. I heard the gate. She kept me on the line. I heard the gate. Our backyard gate was on the east side of the house, heavy iron, always stiff. It made a particular sound when it swung open, a low metallic groan I had heard 10,000 times. That night it opened slowly, carefully, someone working to minimize the noise. Mom, I whispered. He's going around the back. Stay quiet. Stay in the room. Police are 4 minutes away. I sat on the floor beside my parents' bed with the phone pressed to my ear and listened to my own breathing. 4 minutes. The footsteps started downstairs at minute 2. Not outside, inside. Heavy, deliberate, moving through the kitchen, into the hallway, toward the stairs. I pressed my hand over my mouth. "He's inside," I whispered into the phone. "He's inside the house." I heard my mother scream something at my father. The footsteps came up the stairs. They moved down the hall, pausing at my brother's room at mine. Then closer, closer. The door handle turned. Once, twice. Gentle knocking. 3 times. Patient. No voice, no words. Just knocking. Then footsteps retreating. Back down the hall. Down the stairs. Into silence. I sat motionless on the floor for 3 minutes until I heard my mother say, "They're inside, Daniel. Stay put." The police entered through the back door, which was standing open. The sliding window beside it had been pushed fully aside. 4 officers, 2 upstairs, 2 down. One of them said my name from the hallway and I unlocked the bedroom. Door on shaking legs. They never proved it was the delivery driver. The investigation went nowhere. My parents tried. They drove to Rosario's, described the man. Got stonewalled by a manager, who looked like he was choosing his words very carefully. The employee matching the description didn't come back from his shift that night. Lawyers said there wasn't enough for a case. The restaurant closed 8 months later under different circumstances. Or so the story went. My parents stopped leaving me alone for almost a year after that. And when they finally did again, I made sure every window was locked before they left. I thought I had learned how to live inside that kind of fear. I thought the lesson was, lock the doors, trust your instincts. Don't open up for strangers. I hadn't learned anything yet. 3 years later, my family moved. My father had taken a remote consulting job that let him work from anywhere. And my parents had long wanted to build something outside the city grid. They found 40 acres in northern Maine, dense pine forest, a private road, no visible neighbors in any direction. They built a 2-story house that backed directly onto parkland. Big windows, a wide rear deck, surrounded on 3 sides by tree line that started 10 feet from the foundation. I was 17. I thought it was beautiful. The first thing I noticed after we moved in was the silence. Not peaceful silence, structural silence. The kind that has weight, no traffic noise, no distant voices. At night, standing on the deck, you could hear your own heartbeat if you concentrated. The tapping started in November. Soft at first, metal on glass, low and intermittent, coming from the large rear window of the basement. I told myself it was a branch. The trees were close enough. Wind moved them at night. I told myself this for 2 weeks, while it continued sometimes, stopping for 3 or 4 nights. Then returning slightly louder. Then I saw him. I had come downstairs after midnight to get water. The kitchen light was off. The backyard beyond the glass door was lit by a half moon and the motion sensor, light on the corner of the house. I was at the sink when I looked up. He was standing at the deck railing, still watching the house. His face was visible in the motion light, gaunt, pale, unshaven. He was wearing a canvas jacket several sizes too large, and his hands were loose at his sides. And he was smiling, not warmly, not vacantly, a specific smile. The kind that says, I see you, and I have been seeing you, and I am not afraid of being seen. I did not move. He held eye contact for 11 seconds. I counted later, reconstructing it, and then he turned and walked into the tree line. Not running, walking, unhurried, like he had simply finished something. My parents called the sheriff. Officers swept the tree line with flashlights, found nothing. A deputy told us there had been reports of a man living rough in the forest on the state park boundary. No record. No confirmed identity. Possibly mentally ill. Definitely not someone they'd been able to locate. He came back every few nights. Not always visible. Sometimes just the tapping. Sometimes footprints in the mud around the foundation in the morning. Circling the house. Stopping at each window. Moving on. Circling again. A ritual. My parents installed external lights. A security system with door sensors. My father kept a rifle accessible. None of it stopped the tapping. In January, my parents had to travel for 5 days and left me alone with our dog, a 4-year-old shepherd mix named Grau, who was, under ordinary circumstances, the calmest animal I had ever encountered. He slept through thunderstorms. He ignored the deer that occasionally crossed the yard. The 3rd night alone, I woke at 2:40 a.m. to the sound of Grau standing in the middle of the bedroom floor, perfectly still, every muscle rigid, staring at the window. He was not growling. He was past growling. He was simply locked onto something with absolute concentration. Then he erupted, not barking, screaming. The word sounds wrong for a dog, but nothing else fits. Deep, furious, continuous sound that shook the walls. He hit the bedroom door hard enough to leave marks. I grabbed the shotgun my father had left beside the bed, went to the upstairs window that faced the yard, and turned on the fog lights. He was standing at the deck railing again. Same jacket, same smile. But this time he was holding something, a folding knife, blade open, tapping it lightly against the wooden railing in that particular rhythm I had been hearing for months. Tap, tap, tap. I opened the window. Leave, I said. My voice was steadier than I expected. Right now. I'm not going to say it twice. He looked up at me. He tilted his head slightly, the way a dog does when it hears a high-pitched sound, still smiling. I fired once into the air above and to the right of him. The smile disappeared. He stepped back from the railing. 1 step, 2, and then turned and moved toward the tree line. Not running, still controlled, but moving. I went downstairs, unlocked the sliding door, and released Grau into the yard. He hit the grass at full speed and disappeared into the dark forest in under 4 seconds. The sound of him crashing through undergrowth, fading rapidly, then gone. I stood on the deck for 20 minutes with the shotgun and waited. Grau came back 25 minutes later, muddy to the shoulders, panting hard with a small strip of dark canvas fabric caught in his teeth. I took it from him and put it in a bag for the sheriff. The footprints in the morning led half a mile into the forest and then scattered, zigzagging, looping, doubling back, the tracks of someone who knew they were being followed and knew how to confuse the trail. The tapping never came back. I don't know what happened to him. The sheriff's investigation eventually closed without identification. The canvas fabric matched nothing on record. I still live on that property. I am 23 now. The forest is still 40 feet from my back door. The trees are still dense enough that someone could stand at the edge and be completely invisible in daylight. Most nights I don't think about it, but I still check the rear window before I turn off the kitchen light. Every single night, without exception, I look, not because I expect to see anything, because I know what it costs to look away.